All right, good morning and welcome to the How Can I Help My Child series. Today we are talking about how we can help our children to control screen time without having them become rebellious. Yes, the world that we're living right now is a world that is driven by technology. More and more of our children are becoming addicted to screen time. And because this works for us as parents, we find out that more and more parents are becoming wanting in this area. The time children spend on screen the time that children spend on screen is very crucial, and we should start paying attention to this. The less time that they have for real life activities, the more time that your child spends on screen, the less time the child will have on real life activities like interacting physically, engaging in physical activities, and getting involved in imaginative play. And these things are crucial to the development of our children, especially our young children. But what can we do as parents to ensure that screen time is curbed or screen time is managed or regulated in a way that it does not come in the way of our children's development? My name is Maribel Chima, and I am the founder of the Parenting Through Mentorship. Hi, Ezieme. Welcome. My name is Maribel Chima, and I am the founder of the Parenting Through Mentorship Academy and PTM Resources. And of course, I am the proud matron of the Mastermind Circle, a peer mentorship and accountability group that we run for young children. Yes, at the Mastermind Circle, we guide young children to begin to take steps towards leading themselves, because we understand that the more independent a child is, the more they are able to navigate the world. All right. So in the mastermind, we raise children, we help children build a solid foundation, yes, that will guide and help them navigate through life as they grow up. All right. So today, let's talk about screen time. Before then, if you are here and you are with me watching on YouTube, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, why don't you go ahead and use the subscription button right now? Subscribe to that channel. We have tons and tons of resources that will help you become the amazing parent that your child deserves. If you're on Facebook, why don't you go ahead and tag a friend, share the link to this video both on YouTube and on Facebook, so that your friends who have young children and preteens can be a part of the show. We are here at 8:30 a.m. every morning. So why don't I give you 5 seconds to tag a friend or invite a friend to be a part of this, or share a link with a friend right now, or click the button, all right, the subscription button, and subscribe on YouTube. What I do a 1 second housekeeping right now. So sometimes on Facebook we come live and we realize that we are not showing to our audience for some reason. So we have to check and be sure that we are. So for instance, right now, I'm showing only to myself on Facebook, and that is not okay. All right, so we got that sorted. Let's go right into the business of today. This show is usually a short show, between 15 and 30 minutes, and we are gone. But we want to leave you with something that you can ponder on, something that you can introduce into your parenting and begin to run. But more than this, you need a community as a parent where you can be with other parents, sharing experiences, sharing notes, and of course, becoming better, knowing that parenting is a universal, is a universal blessing. And so the challenges that we have in parenting are also universal. So one person's experience might just point, you to a direction, of something that you need to do better. All right. And more than that, your children need to be in communities. We say we cannot choose their friends. We cannot choose their association per se, but we can put them in environments that makes it easy for them to choose the right kind of associations and the right kinds of friends. Yes, we want to put our children in communities where the children can be with other children who share similar values as them, other children who are driven like them, other children who motivate themselves and can motivate them. Yes, and of course, your child can also get a chance to be a blessing by influencing other people also. So yes, we run a robust community like this, the Mastermind Circle. It's a peer mentorship and accountability group where we offer mentorship to your children, accountability to your children. We guide them, we guide them, and of course we take the role of models in their lives, of course in collaboration and partnership with you, their parents. And apart from that, the children serve as peer mentors to each other. The children inspire each other, they motivate each other. I cannot begin to tell you the kind of peer mentorship and leadership that goes on in the Mastermind Circle. We start a new cohort of the Mastermind Circle on the 1st of September. So if you have children between ages 6 and 14, then you need to bring them to the Mastermind Circle. We call it a solid foundation ground. We will give your child such a solid foundation that your child can run with wherever they go afterwards. We're not bragging. We know what we're talking about. We are not that loud, but that's because the work in the mastermind is huge. Okay, your parents in the mastermind will testify to this. All right, let's go into the business of today. Research has shown, right? Research by the National Institute of Health in the US has shown that children who spend as much as 7 hours of screen time are 2 times likely to be diagnosed with depression and anxiety compared to children who spend only about an hour on screen time. And I hope you know, when we say screen time, this includes the time that they spend watching TV, the time that they spend working online, the time that they spend, whether it's schoolwork or whatever it is that they do, that time they spend doing schoolwork, the time they spend watching TV, the time they spend watching Pokemon, the time they spend playing video games, all of these times put together. Research has shown that children who spend as much as 7 hours doing this daily are more likely to come up with anxiety and depression as they grow older. Today, we hear of all kinds of things that come up among young people, among teenagers, even adults, young and older adults. We see how people come, into that place of depression and all of that. When it happens, we are looking at, is it the wife that is causing it? Is it the husband? Is it their jobs? But we do not understand, or what we do not understand is that these things come from, sometimes they come from a lingering effect that probably started somewhere in their early childhood, where this children or these people became addicted to screens, and dependent on external factors to help them get the excitement that they need in life. So when we introduce our children to screen time and we make it unregulated or we do not regulate it, what we're doing is we are exposing them to becoming addicts of these things. And when this happens, it stops their ability, or it hinders them from interacting, having more physical interactions with people, with their environment. Okay, they become less and less aware of their environment and the excitement in their environment. When young children get addicted to screens, of course, you will find out that there is less attraction or less affiliation with the environment, going out to play, exploring their environment, getting curious and exerting or trying to, trying to find solutions for the things that they are curious over, right? Our children become more passive than they are active, because what it takes to be engrossed on something in your screen, okay, what it takes for you to be fixated on your screen requires very less curiosity. In fact, it requires absolutely no curiosity. All you need to do is sit down there passively and you are entertained massively by whatever it is that you are viewing on those screens. So the more our children stay on this, the more hazard our children are exposed to. Now let's look at a few of the negative things, or the effects, right? The negative effect of excessive screen time in our children's life. One, it makes them sleep deprived. And this is the same for both your, little children, your young children, and your older children. All right. When our children, as early as, we know what we're talking about here. Some of our children, by the time they are 5 months, 6 months, have already been introduced to our phones, to tablets. For some of us, our phones and tablets have become nannies, yeah, pacifiers to our children. So the child is crying, all you do is hand them one of those gadgets, and the child is engrossed, and that takes, the child, it helps you as a parent, right? The child gets distracted, and then you can go on with your life, right? While the child is addicted, or the child stays focused on that screen. Now, a lot of our children are introduced to screens as early as that. Some of them 2 months, as soon as the child, in fact, even when the child cannot hold the screen, cannot hold the tablet or the phone, we have it right there for them. In fact, some of our children from day one, right? From day one, we have them in front of the screen, whether they are fully engrossed in it or not. So basically, from day one, they are programmed to have screens in their presence, or they are programmed to have screens active, in front of them. So, how it is when children come, we say they come tabula rasa, they don't have anything in there, and it's what it is that we program in their environment that becomes their reality. So for your child that has a screen always, available and always active, so basically you are programming the child that this is how it is, right? This is how the world is. This is how we have it. That is why some of us have screens in every single room, in the kitchen. This whole wokeness and this whole, yeah, we have a right kind of thing. So you go to homes and you see screens in the kitchen, you see screens in the living room, you see screens even in the children's bedroom, every single bedroom. And somewhere at the back of our mind, is affluence and all of that. Yeah, why it could be anything we want to term it. The bottom line is that it is not right for our children, and it is affecting them negatively, and we want to pay attention to this. All right, so it makes them sleep deprived. So the time that the child ordinarily would doze off and sleep, because the child is actively watching something and they don't want to miss out, the children, just stay on there longer rather than just go and have a beauty sleep. All right, most times our children hold those tablets until they are totally subdued, right? Their body actually gives way, and you see them with the screen or the phone or tablet or the TV still on, and then they doze off. That is not right. You are not allowing the child's body to naturally go into a sleep position where the child can actually prepare themselves and then go to sleep. Do you understand? Okay. For older children, of course, we know this one. Some of them get to the point, because there are no regulations, no boundaries in their homes. Most of our children watch TV until they go to sleep, and we come and carry them inside. Wrong. We are not allowing them get to the place where they can. Every human being should stand up, walk into a room, prepare themselves for bedtime, prepare the brain that way for bedtime, and go to sleep. But most of our children do not know this because of excessive screen time. Number two, loss of cognitive abilities. Because our children are not actively involved when they are watching or paying attention to this screen, or when they are fixed on the screens. They are not actively, no brain development is happening, because the child is not doing anything at all. The child is just sitting down there, and of course, the child is just being entertained. So the neural connections that they need to build cognitive abilities are inhibited because of what we are doing. Now, if you replace that screen time with the child playing outside, what will happen is the child is problem solving. When the child is outside, the child will encounter nature, will encounter things in their environment, okay, and they will try to figure out what these things are. They will try to piece these things together. They will try to create something from these things. They will try to make sense of it. While your children are doing all of these, neural connections are happening in their brain, and new neural pathways are being formed in their brains. It is the connection of this connection of these neurons and the creation of neural pathways that help our children build the skills that they need to navigate life, to solve problems, and other cognitive ability. So the more your child is seated in front of a screen, the less this natural process that God has made for the child to grow and become independent, for the child to grow and be successful, for the child to grow and be creative, for the child to grow and be successful, the more it is inhibited because of all of the screen time. All right. Number three, it impairs their social skills. Children who are fixed on TV all the time, fixed on video games, fixed on one screen or the other, what you realize is they have less time or less interest in interacting with people. There is too much happening in front of them. So no, they do not want to think about how to foster relationships. They do not want to think about how to hold conversations. We see this a lot amongst our young people, amongst our teenagers. Have you gone to a typical gathering where you have teenagers, or if you're a parent of a teenager, the way you take your children, or you're going for a birthday, or you're going for a gathering, church gathering, or whatever, have you seen a bunch of teenagers in one place, especially if they are teenagers who own phones? My goodness, what you see is you see each of them buried on the screen of their phone. They don't talk to each other anymore. They don't interact anymore. They don't try to break the ice to build new relationships. Do we not even get worried? How are our children going to build business connections? How are our children going to create? How are they going to form collaborations and partnership with people? How are they going to impact this world when they are not even interested in building social connections? Because everybody is an autonomy. Everybody is okay with themselves, their phone and their screen. Do you know how bad it gets? It gets so bad that these children can hang out with their friends, and all of them, let's say they come and tell you, mommy, oh, I want to go out with my friend on blah blah blah, all this kind of things. Do you know what they do when they go out in some of those gatherings? They can actually sit around the table, and each of them is manning their phone, each person with their phones in their hands. And do you know, sometimes they even interact with the phones while sitting on the table, right? The person at that end and the person at the middle are actually having conversations on the phone when they can talk to each other. That's how bad it gets. And we say it's not even just children, even amongst us, grown-ups today. You go to a gathering, your friend has invited you and invited her other friends and all of that. People go to gatherings, they will be in a space together for 2, 3, 4 hours, and you will see adults not exchange pleasantries, nothing, because everyone is involved or is engrossed in their phones. We are killing that whole natural essence of living in communities, building communities, and creating social networks. And because our children do not know any time that is different from what they have today, they probably will never really know. Some of them will never really know what it means to build these connections if we are not intentional about these things today. All right. We have heard of screen autism. All right. You know how you see someone, you say a child is on the spectrum and the child has, social deficiencies, and the child is unable to, operate at a level of social connection, and all of that. The child is unable to interact at a level because, they are impaired in that area. Now we have children that ordinarily shouldn't have these social challenges, but because of screens will actually lead them to become anxious. All of that anxiety and all of that builds up, and the children we have children who cannot focus, children who have attention deficits, right? Children who have problems, keeping their being focused on a thing for longer than a few minutes. We have attention spans reducing just because people cannot operate, young children cannot operate, physically. Everything has to be on a screen. The only time you can get their attention fixed on something for longer than a short period is when they are watching something on a screen. This is a pandemic, and it's something that we need to do something about if we're going to save our children. All right. In young children, research has shown that there is too many cases of delayed learning abilities, okay, because of screen time. Children who are introduced to screens early. Do you know some people think that because the children watch all these things and they, they mimic what they see, okay, and they regurgitate what they hear from TV, people think that they are learning language and they're actually building. Most times, as I said, what they are doing is repeating and regurgitating. Now, this stops them from actually interacting with human beings and learning like real life, how to communicate, how to use language, how to use vocabulary in the right way. So sometimes we have children who have delayed speech, who have delay in their learning ability just because they are so fixed on screens and mimicking the cartoons, and all of that. As I said, all of the neural connections that are needed for your child to progress in their development are inhibited because of excessive screen and the child's inability to connect. The brain is a relational organ and it develops based on our relationship with the people around us. Okay, you can tell for free that the relationship or the communication between your child and whatever they are watching on the screen is one-sided. All right. So these are some of the things we want to look at. Screens can actually lead to low self-esteem in your children. Yes, children who do not have human interactions as they should. Children who there is sometimes, the programs that they watch have a narrative, right? So it is the media that sells all kinds of narrative more than anything else. The narrative that girls have to look a certain way, you have to be a certain way, you have to sound a certain way. All of these biases are usually projected in this. You will never know this, but sometimes our children begin to question who they are just because of what they see on the screen. And sometimes that's where they pick their negative impressions of themselves. So these are just a few of the negative effects of screen time. There are so many of them, so many of them. All right, if we want to dive into it, but as we said, this is a short show and we don't have time to come and deal with all of these things. That's why you have to be in communities where these conversations are ongoing. And of course, your child has to be in communities where these conversations are also ongoing. And of course, there are interventions and there are other ways and better things to use and engage them, and the children can understand this because they are learning and they are having conversations about these things in their communities, as we do in the mastermind circle. So let's go right into how we can mitigate this, how we can stop this, or how we can control screen addiction in our children. The first thing you want to do as a family is you want to have a media plan. Have a plan for media consumption in your house. It is very critical. And the earlier you have a media plan, the better for you and for the children, and the better for everyone. With a media plan, it means that this is our agreement. This is our policy. That's what it is. It's sort of an agreement, a policy on how we will interact with screens or how we will interact with media in our home. Now, when this is an agreement that doesn't come up as a result of, someone is angry, you are not happy with the child, or you are making the child stop something that they're doing. No, it's an agreement that comes from a place of there was no pressure, nothing. We just sat down and we put a policy together. In how are we going to consume screen in this home? Who are we, and what's the screen, or what benefits is screen to us, right? Is all that we're learning on the screen, or whatever it is, how much of a benefit is it to us? And even if it's of a benefit, because we know that there are also demerits to these things, how do we control it? And then you come up with a plan with your children of what it is or how long it is, and all of these other many aspects of a media plan. So your media plan will have, for instance, how long your children can have screen time and what days your children can have screen times. For instance, in our media plan, our children do not watch TV or they don't have any screen time except a short 30 minutes time if necessary as a result of a homework or something that they are doing. All right. So if you have a homework and you decide to do a bit of a research based on your homework, so it means that you're going to probably be watching a video to reinforce what it is that you have learned in school. That is the only time that our children can have screen time during the week, especially when it is school period. Now, during the holiday, they get to watch TV every day, but it is still, of course, always censored, and it is definitely structure it. You can't just come and watch TV the entire day. Our 9-year-old gets to have screen time, 2 hours screen time during the holiday. And this 2 hour can be spread across, whether she loves to, what do you call it? She loves to work on Scratch, right? So whether you want to do something on Scratch, or you want to watch a movie, or you want to listen to music, whatever it is 2 hours. So it's up to you to decide how you want to spread out that 2 hours. Our son has got 3 hours and he's 15. It's up to him also to spread out. If part of that time he wants to communicate with his friends, he's 15 now, almost 15, and so he's building his relationships and, of course, managing his relationships. So, yes, he needs to keep in touch with his friends, because a lot of them have moved out, have moved from his relocated, some of them. Basically, he's building, his relationships. And so once in a while, he needs to communicate with his friends, and he can do that with my phone. And so with an extra phone that I have. And so when it's time to do that, he knows that he has a particular time for this. And so he can decide, okay, I'm going to chat with my friend for 30 minutes. I'm going to do, he belongs to peer groups, mentorship groups and all of that. I'm going to do an assignment from one of my mentorship groups for 30 minutes. So put that together. That's about 1 hour of working on the phone or working on something that requires that. He's learning, graphic designs, using Canva and all of that. He can put that also. That's another like 1 hour, right? He loves to write, and so he's constantly writing. All right. He can decide to write for 30 minutes or so. And then, of course, he loves to game. He can decide, okay, I'm gaming for 30 minutes today or for 1 hour today. Put together, let it just be 3 hours anyway. Whatever it is that you're doing, it's bunched into that. But this only happens during the holiday and, of course, during the weekend. So you have to have that. Now, this was not agreed upon today. It was agreed upon a long time ago. Our son already knew a lot of these things since he was 6. Our daughter came to meeting all of this. So all her life, she's always known there is a policy on this, basically. All right. This policy also says how your children can go online. All right. It says how your children can go online, basically. All right. So they know what sites are acceptable in your home, what sites are not acceptable in your home, basically. So these are some of the things that will be contained, of course, in your media plan. Media plan is very crucial for every home. Media plan should also encompass friends, their friends, how they relate with a lot of things. Okay, we're not talking about a media plan. Maybe one of these shows we will have, maybe one of these days in the show we will have how to create a media plan, right? But today it's not about media plan, but that's one way that you can regulate, screen time in your home. Number 2, you can get your children, you can structure into your schedule in your home time for your children to play outdoor compulsorily. For instance, our daughter is 9 now. All right. Before she turned 9, she had 3 hours. 3 hours of 3 hours of outdoor play every day. Yes. So in school, after school, I will deliberately not go to pick her. I give her a whole hour or an hour and a half to get to play outdoor after school. It's deliberate. So while she's waiting for her brother, she gets to play outdoor. It's very intentional because I can actually come and get her and drop her home. But she is allowed to have that time playing outdoor, doing free play. Do you understand? Imaginative play, free play, and all of that. Now, when she comes home, she also gets another 1.5 hours of play at home where she can actually go, play with her friend and all of that. In the past, before she became 8, when she was younger, you will see them with pots. Allow these children, grow on their own. Allow them, transition from one phase on their own. I remember a time, my neighbor and I talk about it every now and then. I remember a time where she and her friend, By the time they are done in the compound, right, you will know that something happened to that compound. They go from, creating, what do you call it, flowers and leaf collages. They will make meals. They had pots, they had plates, they had all kinds of things. They're constantly making one thing or the other. All we had to do was get them into a practice where after they are done with all of the play, we send them back and then we go and we clean up. They clean up after themselves. All right. We saw them transition from these, to moving from that to creating real things, right? They moved from playing with sand and all of that to beginning to create real things. They will actually go and they will do artwork. They will create real beautiful artworks, and then they will come and put them in the house and all of that. They transitioned. These days, what are they doing? She and her friend these days they are talking about running businesses. The other day they decided that they were going to start selling lemonades. All right, they're going to start selling lemonades, and they sold lemonades for 2 weeks. I think they stopped. I've not heard anything about lemonades in recent times. But basically, when you allow children free play, they will figure out ways on their own. They will find themselves in that play. All right. So structure intentionally for your children to play outdoor. It's very, very key. Number 3, get your children engaged in activities and in programs that will help them develop themselves. All right, get them in programs that will help them develop themselves. Get them into mentorship programs like the Mastermind Circle. Get them into programs where they see what other children are doing. A lot of times, because peer pressure is a thing, don't even play with it. Peer pressure is a thing, and it's not a bad thing. All right, it's a part of growing up. Our children will be pressured at some point. Now, because all our children know are those friends in their class where 99% of the friends do not come from homes where there aren't clear-cut boundaries, to these things. So their friends watch TV all the time. Their friends do all the things that you don't do in your home. And so your child will continuously hear the stories from these friends who do all these things. And, sometimes they begin to feel like, oh, I'm the only one that is different. They begin to feel, kind of isolated and all of that. So you want to put them in communities where they can see people who do the same kind of things that they do. It reinforces the fact that this is functional. It reinforces the fact that they are on the right path, because this functionality is louder than functionality, because there are more people who are dysfunctional. Do you understand? More people who are dysfunctional. So you want to put your children in environments, in spaces where they can see that some things are the ideal, some things are the functional things. The fact that more people in the society are not doing the right thing doesn't make it right. Okay, your child is a child and does not have the ability to reason as you do. So stop saying, I will put them there, they will figure themselves out. No, peer pressure is a thing, and the child will be pressured if the child is pressured, if you have not positioned them right to understand, and to see, right, in practical terms, what is right, and all of that. Then the last thing, let your children read books. Introduce your children to reading lots and lots of books. As they read lots and lots of books, their minds are broadened. As they read lots and lots of books, they spend less and less time on the screen, because they find that same entertainment, right? Your children will find the same entertainment that they get from screens from a book. Our kids are in that place. My children can be entertained 100% by a book as much as they can be entertained by a TV program. So you want to get your children into that space, okay? And that is why we put together the shows, the things that we put together to help more parents get into this place. All right. During the summer, we are already working on the summer challenge, our yearly summer fun activity challenge, book challenge. So it's a book challenge, but it is a book challenge that is done with lots of fun activities that will motivate your child to read, because we know the importance of books and we know the importance of reading. Okay, we want your children to cultivate the habit of reading, and we're doing this by introducing fun ways to this. All right, we want to create fun as a sense of as an activity that gives your child a sense of satisfaction. When your children have an activity that gives them a sense of satisfaction, they are motivated to do the things that we are hoping they can do more. And in this case, reading books. So we want to create activities that give them a sense of satisfaction that will motivate them to read. And we have done this for 4 straight years, and every year we win more children who get into the habit of reading. We've moved children from 0 reading to 100% reading through this 30 days challenge. The 30 days challenge is affordable, almost free as it is, okay? And it starts on the 1st of August, okay? But keep your eye locked in here. We are going to share the link for you to join the waiting group, all right? To join the wait list where we're going to kick off the challenge from. You don't want to miss it. So if you have a child from 0, yes, I said, from 0 to 13, then this challenge is for them. And the challenge is fun. It will be fun even for you. Thank you very much. This is where we are going to draw the curtain on today's show. It's been amazing sharing with you. If you got value from the session, that I know that you did, okay, let us know in the comment section. You know someone who needs to know about all of this, share the link with them and tell them about the show. We will be back here tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. where we will be doing parenting again as a village, because it still takes a village to raise a child. My name is Mary Chima, and I am the founder of the Parenting Through Mentorship Academy and PTM Resources, and I am the proud matron of the Mastermind Circle. If you will also want to have your child join us in the Mastermind Circle come September 1st, okay, we have on the screen right now, scrolling on the screen, the information that you need. Why don't you take a screenshot and book a slot with just 5,000, and then you can pay throughout from now to September. It's 6,000, less than 6,000 per month. So you get to pay only about 70,000 for an entire year of being in the Mastermind Circle. Check it. It's less than 6,000 naira per month. And for the premium service that we give you in the Mastermind, you do not want to miss it. Thank you for joining me. Have a fantastic rest of the day. Bye.